Good morning, team. My name is Susan Townsend, and I'm going to share my presentation about NWEA's key terms with you. But before I get started, I want you to know that when doing this with a group, remotely or in person, I would definitely focus around quality adult learning principles, and the group would be more engaged and be more active with application and making connections. Okay, so let's move into the presentation. First, I want to tell you a little bit about myself before we jump into the essence of the session. I've been an educator for 38 years and just retired from my last position. I've been married for 36 years to my husband, Jack. We have 3 children, 2 are married, and we have 4 grandchildren. The center picture is my group, and the picture on the top right are our grandkids. We are avid Michigan State fans, as you can see from the picture on the bottom right. And we attend football, basketball, and art events regularly. The picture on the bottom left is a picture of canned tomatoes. Why would I put that in this presentation? Well, part of our family's adventure is canning and preserving and cooking together. It brings us all together and we can get really creative. The picture on the top right is a beautiful outdoor adventure we were on. Our entire family enjoys being outdoors, hiking, skiing, boating. I'm also a runner, and that just is something I truly enjoy. We are fortunate that our entire family gets to spend a lot of time together. We're hoping that today's session will increase your understanding of the purpose of assessment, Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, MAP RIT scores, normative assessment, and adaptive assessment. So why do we assess student growth? We assess student growth because assessment can give us a lot of information regarding instruction, student learning, programming, and curriculum. We assess to support teachers and instructors in making adjustments and decisions about their instructional moves to support the growth of all children in their classroom. We also assess to help teachers make decisions about how to support students with their specific instructional needs at all levels. Vygotsky's zone of proximal development is the gap between the actual development level and the level of potential development. If you focus on this circle, you will see 3 rings. The outer ring shows what a learner cannot do, and they're not ready yet. The middle ring shows the ZPD area, which the learner can do with the guidance and support of someone helping him or her. The inner ring is the circle of what learners can do without support. They've got it. This model supports teachers with the gradual release of responsibility as they teach. An example of ZPD development might be when we help children learn to ride a bike. We know that the first picture on the left demonstrates the middle circle in the model. This child needs help to ride this bike. He needs guidance. He is in the ZPD level. The second picture shows the child riding on his own, which would be the inner part of the circle. He can do it already. He's learned those skills. Another example in the area of reading is we know that children aren't born to read. The picture on the left shows an adult reading to her child. We read to our child because we want to have them have some experience of the developmental levels they move through, and beginning to read to a child is one. The middle picture is a teacher working in a guided reading group, teaching students how to read. They are in the zone of proximal development. The last picture shows a child who is reading by herself without support. Once again, the zone of proximal development is considered the level that individuals achieve with the help of other people. Moving into the RIT scale scores, what are they? MAP uses a scale called RIT to measure student achievement and growth. RIT stands for RASH unit and is a measurement scale developed to simplify the interpretation of test scores. It is an equal interval scale, like feet and inches on a ruler, so scores can be added together to calculate accurate class or school averages. They're used in the NWEA MAP testing results. The RIT scale score measures student and achievement and growth over time. RIT scale scores can be used individually for classrooms and for entire grades to compare and make comparisons to show growth over time, not only individually, but as a group. The RIT score allows educators to follow a child's growth from year to year and determine individual and group supports for each child's learning. The RIT score, again, helps calculate accurate class or school averages. Let's talk about some examples. If you notice, the picture on the left shows a little baby on the bottom left of that scale, and then a child who has grown. This is a yearly growth chart. We expect child's growth to increase over time. And that's a real important thing to think about because we want to make sure we're developing. The chart on the right shows one of the achievement charts from NWEA. This chart is showing where this child falls in his or her achievement. And you'll notice Sean is in this example. His scores range from 220 to 236. He is above the national average for achievement. He's in the 84th percentile. But look at the growth. It's continuing to increase. That's an example of what a RIT score can show us. But it also, again, takes us back to the slide we talked about. We can use this for a child. Who else is in that same category? And how do we support their learning needs? Normative data is data from a population of interest. So you may be focusing on race, gender, socioeconomics, programming, etc. It gives us a representative sample from a wider population. Normative data establishes a baseline distribution for a score or measurement to which the score or measurement can be compared. It can be very helpful because I may be running a school and I need to understand how my students with disabilities may be performing. I may need to understand where my students of color might be performing. Do we need to think about how we're instructing, what's taking place, and what programs we're using? Again, here is an example. This is from the NAEP test, the NAEP chart test. It really, this one is focusing on students with disabilities, and you'll notice from 2017 to 2022 that the scores are not showing improvement. And so that's something we really need to think about. How are we teaching and instructing our students with disabilities? We need to really focus on what we can do to support our teachers in providing instruction that will benefit all students. Adaptive assessment is a customized set of questions tailored specifically to each student based on their performance on previous test items that they've been asked. This test set will drill down to the level of proficiency to the greatest granularity for an individual student. If a student is struggling, then the test questions get easier. If the student is excelling, then the questions become harder. Computer adaptive achievement tests, an example of that is the MAP test. They really give a more precise estimate of a student's ability. At this point, I would ask at the very end of the session what questions you might have. And then, as always, I would always share my contact information with you in case you leave and you need clarification or have questions. That's the end of my artifact presentation to the NWEA team. I'm looking forward to hearing from you again. And thank you for this opportunity. Have a wonderful day.